There was a very famous quote that I heard first time from the mouth of Jordan B. Peterson, that I heard after that several times from many fundamental believers to capital system. Famous quote says, capitalism unequally distributes wealth or capital through the system, but communism equally disturbs poverty. This saying is so much true. It's so describing problems, both systems, that I like to use it from first time when I hear it all the time. It's true that the greatest problem of communist regime with their planned in industry and planned economy is that they eventually end up with creating of insufficiency of resources. So that's what that part of the quote means, that communism disturbs often poverty because it disturbs equally insufficiency of resources to all people in commune in society. It's 100% true, and I, as a person who actually was born in communism and experienced aftermath of communist regime, I am pretty aware of that, and I would actually explain to you why most of the time this happens. But what people like Jordan Peterson do not understand is how great true is even in the first part of this quote, and they are unable to understand how that is actually a problem on same level or maybe higher than distribution of poverty, insufficiency of resources. How split resources, inequality in wealth in society can lead into actual great problems that will lead eventually to end of that society. Problem of most of the capitalists are that in the core they are fanatics, they are fundamentals, very similar like their counterparts like the communists. So they are not seeing or they are denying problems of their own system. What the capitalists do not understand is that communism often creates problems that they are very easily recognizable. It created lots of problems like insufficiency of resources, but that's a problem that is very easily recognizable by people. So when you recognize problem, if you if you are willing or you are capable to fix it, it's easy to fix it. On other hand, capitalism, and that's what most capitalists do not understand, is created long-term problems. Long-term problems that they are not recognizable, at least not at the beginning. It's the problem that they are hidden, and most of the society could not see them, could not recognize them, and that will lead that problem accumulate, metastase, and became bigger and bigger until it's too late when you recognize it. And that is actually the greatest problem of the capitalism, that it creates problems that they are not recognizable by society, and these problems spread like tumor and eventually leads to end of the capitalist society. This is happening all the time, often. We have the same problem actually for several centuries. Basically, from industrial revolution, we have capitalism everywhere, and capitalism is creating its own problem that most capitalists are not recognizable. And if you say that the societies of, let's say, 19th centuries, especially in especially in Europe, was monarchistic, then I would recommend you go and look on series or movie I believe it's based on the book of British writer called Vanity Fair, Novel Without a Hero. In that, you can actually see society of Britain, and that's basically society is entire Europe and also most of the economies, when you can see that even when it's at the top on a theoretically monarchic society, capitalism is on the rise and money is the main thing. And the issue is that capitalism is, because it's wrong system, it creates problems that they are over and over overtaking our societies. Capitalism creates errors that will lead to rise of the people, and nobody has ever focused on fixing of the problems of the system, and that's why we are destined to repeat it over and over. So, back to the famous quote, back about information that communism actually creates insufficiency and capitalism is creating basically overgrowth, over prosperity, accession in capital, in money, and why that is actually even worse than the problem of insufficiency. Why the inequality is great problem than poverty for everybody. Imagine money, capital, wealth in society as water pressure in tubes that leads to your shower. Communism is creating insufficiency. So it's like pressure of the water in your tubes is too low or none. Where that will lead? You go enter your shower, you will turn it on, and without enough pressure, there are no water coming in, and you cannot take your shower. So that's a problem that is easily recognizable. If you don't have some grocery, some product what you cannot buy, you are immediately recognizing the problem. And when you recognize the problem, often you can fix it. Of course, dictatorship and systems like communism, often instead of fixing problem, they are just refusing to admit it, the problem exists. That's other side. That's their problem. But still, when you do not have enough things, it's actually too easy to go and create more things. But what capitalists are not understanding that if you have too much things, it also creates a problem. So with our metaphor with water pressure, if you have too high pressure in the tubes in your shower, what will happen? If there is too high pressure, not let's say just a little bit higher, not too much, but just a little bit higher water pressure in your tubes. So what will happen? You will enter your shower, you will turn it on, water is going, there's no problem. At least you do not see the problem. But what is happening? Let's say tubes are hidden behind the wall or inside the wall behind your shower, and because higher pressure of your water, let's say connection between individual tubes starting to move, disintegrate from each other, or are correlated. Let's say small amounts of water, drop by drop, are coming from it and creating mold behind inside the wall. But that's the problem which you cannot see, and the problem accumulates itself over time, and that time which took lots of time. So for weeks, months, even years, you do not recognize that there is some problem. And if you do not check it, you will be never aware of it. But one day the problem will actually cause catastrophe because over time the water the high pressure of the water inside the tubes caused that there was water dropping out inside the wall constantly. There's mold everywhere. All the tubes are corrugated. And one day you will enter your shower, turn it on, want to take shower, and instead of water, the wall will break. Water will be spreading everywhere. You must stop water in your entire apartment or building, and you must immediately call someone to repair it. But the repairer will be forced to tear down most of the wall, look up, discover the hugeness of the problem itself. It will be forced to change all the corrugated tubes, change all the connection, take care about the mold, repair the wall itself. So the problem is actually, the hidden problem will eventually cost you more effort to fix it than when you have not enough pressure in the water. And this is metaphor about capitalism and communism. Communism creates problems that could be basically easily fixed during just few years. But the capitalism is created problem. They are unnoticeable by most of the society and slowly became bigger and bigger. And eventually it will lead to huge catastrophe that will actually lead to end of the society itself. I will end up with this metaphor. I will explain it literally in real environment. I am, as I told you, from the country that have just 10 million people. So, and we was communist dictatorship where there was a planned economy for 14 years. So I can imagine that there could be, let's say, one factory with 1,000 workers that is creating, let's say, toilet paper. It's creating uh, 10 millions of rolls of toilet paper each week, and our nation with 10 million people are consuming, buying, and using, let's say, 10 millions of toilet papers every week. The problem in communism, what often appeared, is that the system itself is run and led by humans, and humans often make mistakes. So what is happening is that factory is supposed to produce 10 million of rolls of toilet papers, but there will be some accident. Some worker will broke machines, or let's say there will be new economical planning manager that will accidentally plan less creating of less to rolls of toilet paper that's supposed to be, and then it will occur, then the errors of humans will lead to insufficiency. So instead of creating 10 million of rolls of toilet paper for 1 week, the state through that factory will create only 5 million rolls of toilet paper, and you as the customer, you as the member of the society, will actually went to your shop, look on the shelf, and you will see there is no toilet paper, but you need it because you don't have it anymore. So you will be angry. You will be looking for others. For you will be driving to other shops. You will recognize the problem, and you as the member of the society, if the society will be aware of the problem, you will be probably pushing towards your leaders, to the government, to fix the problem. This is what is happening in communist regimes. Do the work of humans. Humans make errors, and errors lead to insufficiency. This is what happened. But insufficiency is basically easy, very recognizable problem. And if there was willingness in government or willingness in leadership of the factory, they could actually fix the problem and make 10 millions of roll of toilet paper again each week. So the problem is fixed. On the other hand, if you have capitalism, you will have opposite problem. There will be overproduction of the commodity. But overproduction is not recognizable by you as the customer, by society, at least not at the beginning. So let's say you are in capitalism, you still have that one factory where they are working 1,000 skillful workers, that they are making toilet paper in average quality, and they make 10 million of rolls of toilet paper. That's precise number what society like mine with 10 million people actually needs. Easy numbers. But because often companies and corporates in capitalist system, their goal is created profit, they usually have tendency, because nobody will say, oh, we are making this much money, we are making this much profit, it's enough. No. In capitalism, you are always forced to want, to create, to have more. So every company, every corporation is actually forced in capitalist system to produce more. So let's say manager or CEO of the factory will force its workers, and instead of 10 million rolls of toilet papers, they will create 11 million of toilet paper each week. So that means that there will be millions of toilet papers created above what is actually needed, what is sold on the market, and that million of rolls will be stored every week in storage house, let's say next to factory. And let's say this is happening for some time. It's happening for months, even let's say for 2 years. So eventually the company, the factory end up with a warehouse full of 100 million of rolls of toilet paper. And that will lead that often some of the person above, some manager, some CEO, some financial manager will decide, okay, we have this much in storage. We want it, sell it, but the market will buy only 10 million. How we could sell it? Usually, what they will do, or they will use it as have opportunity to lower their spending on the salary. So let's say, okay, we have 100 million rolls of toilet paper, so we do not need as much as workers. We can fire half of them because we will be creating only 5 million of rolls of toilet paper each week. We do not need to produce them as much because we want to sell also the ones what we have stored. Or they will just say, okay, so we will now sell the stored one, and we will use the time to renovate the building, fix the machines, and so on. So what will capitalist company, capitalist corporation usually do? They will fire their employees, and they will use time to, let's say, fix machines, renovated building, things like that. And they will be selling the goods that was stored for some time. I will remind you that you as the customer, you don't see difference. You do not know, you are not aware that on other side of your state, there was company who was making these papers. And you are not aware, or at least maybe you can see it in news, but it's not touching you. You are not realizing what is actually happening. So you as the customer, you again go to the shop, you go to the shelf, you will discover that there is still one roll, there are still rolls of toilet paper in same quality for same price, let's say $1 for one roll. Nothing is changed for you. You do not see the problem, but the problem is actually happening. It's same like my metaphor with water pressure in the tubes in the shower. The problem is actually happening, and it became worse and worse over time because the factory have stopped produced, and the numbers of the toilet rolls of toilet paper are now limited. And what is happening in every capitalist regime when there is free and controlled market, when there is some good that became lower with the numbers, it will start to have higher prices. So, because the factory is closed, you are buying same rolls of the toilet paper, but because instead of 100 million stored, it's now just 80, it's 50, it's 20, the stocks became low, and the shops, people, the sellers will use that, will use the knowledge about lowering numbers of the toilet paper, and they will start to sell it for different price. Instead of $1, you now as the customer are recognizing that something is happening because the prices, there is inflation and prices is happening. Instead of $1, now you are spending $5 for one roll of average quality toilet paper. So now you will try to discover what is happening, but it's too late because factory is already closed. And what has happened after? So now, because low on the stocks, you are buying already the same level of toilet paper for 5 times higher price, but the factory will finish its reconstruction and will hire 1,000 employees again. But we are humans. Employees are humans. They need money to pay the rent, to buy food for their families. So what happened is that lots of employees that work in the factory for decades, they move out. They found different jobs, or they move out from the city. Let's say move to another part of the country, and they will not return. So imagine, for example, that only half of the people, 500 people, will return to the factory to do the same job as they did 2 months ago before they was fired. That's skillful employees, but the company will be not able to hire skillful employees again, and they will actually hire a new 500 people to have, because they need 1,000 people to create 10 millions of rolls of toilet paper each week. So they will hire a new one, but the new ones are not skillful as the ones who was fired. It's actually funny that capitalists are not recognizing that if you have long time employee that is working, that is doing some job for some time, he became probably skillful. Yes, there are some examples of people, there are minority basically of people who do not get better in their work, in the craft, after some time. But most people, when they are doing some job, when they are making pottery or farming or producing toilet paper, they became better, more skillful, or faster in their work. And now factory is facing new problem because they hired half of the people that they are not skilled anymore, but that will cause them train new one, and even if they will be fully trained, they will not do their job as skillful as the ones who did it before Reconstruction. So they will be forced because the new one will be not as fast, so they won't be not able to produce the 10 millions of toilet paper. So the factory will actually be forced to hire 200 additional people to help them to produce that 10 million of raw toilet paper each week. But with 200 new more employees, you have instead 1,000, you have 1,200 employees, and you must pay them some salary. And if the factory must pay higher salary to their employees, what they will do, they will hire the prices of commodity of the good what they are selling. So basically, now you went to the job and you are buying toilet paper roll not for $5, but let's say for $7 each roll. And a second thing could be also that let's say that the company will not hire 200 additional employees. They will be fully satisfied with just 1,000 employees, where there will be half of the new one, unskillful employees, and half of the skillful one. But that will actually in fact inflict quality of the product. So let's say the company is now hiring 1,000 people. The price is $5, but quality of that toilet paper is now worse because it's not made by the skillful employees. It's actually made by worse, unskillful employees. So now you are going to the shop, you are paying five times higher price for actually lesser quality product. And this is all happening just because of overproduction.